Oh my god, this fucking guy. Supposed to be at the office hours ago. We're supposed to record. I mean, come on, it's his job. And now we gotta show up to his place and figure out what the fuck this man's even doing. Hope to God that he's dead. Then maybe I'll fucking... Maybe then I'll excuse it. Oh, fucking God, this... I swear to God. This fucking guy. Making me come all the way here from the office. Where the fuck have you been?
Alright. You know what? Instead of telling you where I've been, I'll just fucking show you, man. Come here, check it out.
This better be good.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love this. It's better than good, man. It's amazing. Man, I've just been sitting here getting fucking stoned. See, check it out. Just like, boop.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Nope. I am not.
You're supposed to be at the office hours ago. We have an episode.
Oh shit. I forgot. I'll be right back. Just a second, man.
This guy every time. I swear to God. It's your job. You get paid for this. And look at this nice apartment that this fucking place bought you. Fucking your money, your work money, and you don't even bother to show up on time or at all.
I mean, I heard you complaining from downstairs, and you know what? All I gotta say to that is, of course I don't bother showing up. You already gave me enough money for this place and weed. What more do I need?
What? We gotta go. Our receptionist she's tweaking. You know how she
Alright.
is.
I hate Tiffany. When are we gonna be done with her? Oh,
I don't know.
hold up. I forgot something. Take another rip off the bomb.
Oh my God, this fucking guy. After gotta show him. You know what, motherfucker? You know what, motherfucker? That's good. Welcome back to Two Fucked Up Guys and a Call. The fear you gave is a curse. If you're turning in, you already know we don't play around with the surface level chills. And if you caught part 1, you know things got real dark, real fast. But tonight, we're diving deeper into the stories that linger on your mind. Long after the screen fades to black, the ones that make you second guess that creak in the hallway, or that shadow in the corner of your eye. This is part 2 of Creepypasta series, and trust me, these tales are even more twisted. Turn off the lights, put your phone on silent, and if you scare easy, maybe keep the nightlight on. Let's get started. Tonight, we will touch on Sonic.exe and Squidward's suicide. And if we have more, then you can bet we will touch on more. I'm your host, Corpse Walker, and your co-host, Stoner Ty, and we are back in the office for another episode. And I hope all of you are just as excited as we are to be here, to record, and have fun. This is episode 7. 2 more episodes. And our live stream episode special, or episode 10, will be here. So, let us get to it. Now, Stoner, do you remember the stories that we touched on last time?
Laying on the stoner brain, I'd have to say I'd have to refresh myself. I do know. Like for some reason it's weird because I'm thinking, trying to think back, and my brain's like, no, you're gonna think of the two we're talking about tonight. Like you're gonna have to refresh me. I'm sorry.
The last episode, we had touched on Ben Drown and
Yep.
Suicide Mouse.
Okay. Yep. I remember
So,
now.
if you guys are interested, go check out part 1. In fact, if you haven't seen part 1, go ahead and click on our icon, pull up episode 6, take a peek at it, watch it, like it, then come back to this one. And then you'll be all caught up on episodes for Creepypasta. But today, we're touching on 2 more. And if we have time, we'll touch on some more. But I'm thinking that we're going to make this a series. We're going to go through and we're just occasionally going to do another installment of our Creepypasta series. And we're going to read Creepypasta stories and we're going to talk about them and we're going to have some fun. It's spooky time, my friends. So let's get scared. It's not October, but it's always spooky time around here. So let's get started with our first story, Sonic.exe. I'm a total Sonic the Hedgehog fan, much like everyone else. I had the newer games, but I don't mind playing the classics. I don't think I've ever played glitchy or hacked games before, though. I don't think I want to play any after the experience I had. It started on a nice summer afternoon. I was playing Sonic Unleashed. I liked how you get to explore the town in it. Until I noticed, out of my peripheral vision, that the mailman had arrived and put something in my mailbox, as usual, and left. I paused my game to go see what I got in the mail. The only thing in the mailbox was a CD case for computers and a note. I took it inside. I looked at the note first and realized that it was from my dear friend Kyle. Let's just call him that, whom I hadn't heard from in 2 weeks. I know that because I recognized his handwriting. Though what was weird was how it looked. It looked badly written and scratchy and somewhat difficult to read, as if Kyle was having a hard time writing it down and did it in a hurry. This is what he wrote. Tom, I can't take it anymore. I had to get rid of this thing somehow before it was too late, and I was hoping you'd do it for me. I can't do it. He's after me, and if you don't destroy the CD, he'll come after you too. He's too fast for me. Please, Tom, destroy this god-forsaken disc before he comes after you too. It's too late for me. Destroy the disc, and you'll destroy him. But do it quick, otherwise he'll catch you. Don't even play the game. It's what he wants. Just destroy it. Please. Kyle. Now, if you got that note, Stoner, would you listen?
I I mean, I probably would watch it first, and then I don't know. I'd probably destroy it. I mean,
Even if
if
you were
the
told not
threat,
to.
I mean, if there's someone trying to kill my ass over it, yeah, can't kill me if there's nothing to kill me for. See, I may be a stoner, but I think smart.
He's a smart guy, guys. He's a smart man. So loud for, huh?
just how just how coy you put that out there.
Well, that was
But
certainly weird. Even though Kyle's my best friend, and I haven't seen him in 2 weeks, I didn't do what he asked me. I didn't think that a simple gaming disc would do anything bad to him. After all, it's just a game, right? Boy, was I wrong about that. Anyway, I looked at the disc, and it looked like any ordinary computer CD-R disc. Disc? God, I can't speak today. Except it had black marker on it, written Sonic.exe, and it was much unlike Kyle's handwriting, meaning he must have gotten it from somewhere else, like a pawn shop or eBay. When I saw Sonic on the writing of the CD, I was actually excited and wanted to play it since I'm a big Sonic fan. I went up to my room and turned on my computer and put the disc in and installed the game. When the title screen popped up, I noticed that it was the first Sonic game. I was like, awesome, because like I said earlier, I liked the classics. The first thing I noticed that was out of place when I pressed start, there was a split second when I saw the title image turn into something much different. Something that I now consider horrifying before cutting to black. I remember what the image looked like in that split second before the game cut to black. The sky had darkened, the title emblem was rusted and ruined. The Sega 1991 was now instead Sega 666, and the water had turned red like blood, except it looked hyper-realistic. But the freakiest thing that was in that split-second frame was Sonic. His eyes were pitch black and bleeding, with two glowing red dots staring right at me, and his smile had stretched wider, up to the edge of his face. I was rather disturbed about the image when I saw it, though I just figured that it was a glitch and forgot about it. Who sees that and goes, damn, what a weird glitch. It changed the whole thing. That was pretty horrifying, but that's a crazy glitch, man. Like, yeah, fucking my game just showed me a bunch of Satan shit. Oh, what a weird glitch, man.
That is actually kind of funny, not gonna lie.
uh, After it cut to black, it stayed like that for about 10 seconds or so, and then another weird thing happened. The save file select from Sonic the Hedgehog 3 popped up, and I was like, what the fuck? What's this doing in the first Sonic game? Anyway, then I noticed something off the background. Something off. The background was dark, cloudy sky of the bad Stardust Speedway level from Sonic CD. And there was only 3 save files. The music that was creepy caverns of winter music from Earthbound. So now it's just music from different games. Only it was extended and seemed to have been in reverse. And the image for the save file where you see a preview of the level you're on is just red static for all 3 files. What freaked me out more was the character select. It showed only Tails, Knuckles, and to my surprise, Dr. Robotnik. Now, I was sure that something was up. I mean, how can you play as Robotnik in a classic Sonic game, for crying out loud? That's when I realized that this wasn't a glitchy game. It was a hacked game. Yeah, it definitely looked hacked. It was really creepy, but as a smart gamer, I wasn't scared. Or at least I tried not to be. I told myself that it was just a hacked game and there's nothing wrong with that. Anyways, shaking off the creeped out feeling, I picked file 1 and chose Tails. When I selected and got started, the game froze for about 5 seconds, and I heard a creepy pixelated laugh that sounded an awful lot like the Kefka laugh from Final Fantasy before cutting to black. The screen stayed black for about 10 seconds or more. Then it showed the typical level title thing, except the simplistic shapes were different. Shades of red, and the text showed only Hill, Act 1. The screen faded in, and the level title vanished, revealing Tails in the green hill zone from Sonic 1. The music was different, though. It sounded like a peaceful melody in reverse. Anyway, I started playing and had... This guy talks like me. Just Let me describe this. Anyway. I started playing and had Tails start running like you would in any of the classic Sonic games. What was odd was that Tails was running along the level. There was nothing but flat ground and a few trees for 5 minutes. That was when the peaceful music started to lower down into slow, deep tones, very slowly as I kept going. I suddenly saw something, and I was stopped to see what it was. I stopped to see what it was. It was one of the small animals, lying dead on the ground, bleeding. That was when the music started to slow down. Tails had a shocked and saddened look on his face I never seen him have before. So I had him move along, and he kept that worried look on his face. As he kept moving, I saw more dead animals as Tails moved past them, looking more and more worried as the music lowers and he moves past more dead animals. I was shocked to see how they all died. They looked like somebody had killed them in rather gruesome ways. A squirrel was hung on a tree with what appeared to be his entrails hanging out. A bunny had all 4 of his limbs torn off, and a duck had his eyes gouged out and his throat slit. I felt sick to my stomach when I saw this massacre. Apparently did Tails. After a few more seconds there were no more animals, and the music seemed to have stopped. I still kept Tails to continue. After a minute passed, after the music stopped, Tails was running up a hill, and then stopped. It wasn't until I saw why. Sonic was there on the other side of the screen, with his back against Tails, with his eyes closed. Tails looked happy to see Sonic, but then his smile faltered, obviously noticing that Sonic wasn't responding to him, if not acting as if he was totally oblivious of Tails' presence. Tails walked slowly towards Sonic, and I noticed that I wasn't even moving my keyboard to make him move. So this had to be a cutscene. Suddenly I began to have a growing feeling of dread. Oh my gosh, this guy. He wrote it as I began to have a growing feel of dread. A growing feel of dread. And it's confusing me. As Tails walked closer to Sonic to get his attention, I felt that Tails was in danger and something bad was going to happen. I heard a faint static growing louder as Tails was but inches away from Sonic and stopped and stuck his hand out to touch him. That foreboding feeling in my gut was growing stronger, and I felt the urge to tell Tails to get away from Sonic as the static grew louder. Suddenly, in a split second, I saw Sonic's eyes open. They were black with those red glowing dots, just like the title image. Though there wasn't a smile, when that happened, the screen turned black, and the static sound was off. It stayed black for about 7 seconds, and then white text appeared, forming a message saying, "Hello, do you want to play with me?" At this point, I was creeped out, and I didn't want to continue with the game, but my curiosity got the better of me. I was taken to a different level, with the level title now saying Hide and Seek. This time, I was in the Angel Island level from Sonic 3, and it looked like everything was on fire. Tails looked though he was scared out of his wits this time. He actually looked at me and made frantic gestures to me as if he wanted to get out of the area he was in as fast as possible. I was starting to get freaked out by this. I mean, Tails was actually breaking the fourth wall, trying to tell me to get him out of there. So I pressed down on the arrow key as hard as I could and made him run as fast as he could. A pixelated version of that creepy theme when you meet Shadow at the Ark as Robotnik from SA2 was playing as I made Tails trek through the desolate forest, trying to make him escape from whatever he was trying to run from. Suddenly I heard that creepy laugh again, that awful Kefka laugh. Right after 10 seconds have passed, as I helped Tails run through the forest, and then I started seeing flashes of Sonic popping everywhere on the screen, again with those black and red eyes. The music changed to that suspenseful, drowning jingle as I see Sonic behind Tails, slowly gaining on him, flying. Sonic wasn't running. He was actually flying. The flying pose his sprite was making looked very similar to Metal Sonic's flying pose in Sonic CD, except it was just Sonic, and he had the black and red eyes again only. Damn, bro. You be flying.
Yeah, I remember actually the first time I seen that video. I watched like the video of someone playing through it, like their blind reaction to it,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like freaking out because he loses control. Like the game starts to play itself, and he's like, "I can't do that." I was like, "I can't do that, Sonic. What are you doing?" And he was like, "Oh my God, what happened?" There's blood and body parts everywhere. Freaking Tails is like, I think it's Tails is murdered and he's all over the ground, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while since I seen it. Like he was like, "What the hell is this? This ain't Sonic." He was just freaking out.
Dude, so back in that time, I was super into reading Creepypasta. And so I would read it all the time. I watched like 1,000,002 fucking YouTube videos on it. A bunch of like fan made shit. Um, well, I knew about the game, and so I had downloaded it and played it. Well, I had a friend who wasn't in like the creepypasta scene at all. Like at all. He practically lived under a rock, so like I'm not too surprised. But I was like, oh yo, like you gotta play the Sonic game I got. It's just like the classic ones. It's so much fun. And like bro was tweaking, bro. It was so funny. But I always like introducing people who don't do like horror shit into horror games. I mean, as you know, because it's so funny to
Mm-hmm.
me. Because as someone who plays horror games like all the time, like I don't get like as scared at them. Like I'll jump and be like, "Oh man, that was kind of spooky," but it's so much fun to play with someone who doesn't do that type of shit. That's why I like playing Phasmo is so much fun with you because I know you're actually scared.
Dude, I don't do horror games in the least, and you don't know how many times where I'm already like at that mindset where I'm like, I don't know. And like you've asked me to play Phasmo and I've said yes, but inside my head I'm like, oh God. That's why
Yeah.
when that's why when you're like, it killed me, I'm like, I'm not leaving the van. I can't leave the van. Just like
You're
no.
safe in the van. Stay inside.
Like briefly because we're on the topic, I have seen so much gameplay of things that I wish would happen to us, like the ghost going inside the van or like it being right there trying to get us but can't because of a stupid obstacle in the way. Like I've seen videos where I'm like, we don't get that luck. The minute it's around us, we either run and hope we live or we just say a quick prayer. Like we
Hide in the
don't
closet
get
and
in between.
pray. Please don't kill me. Please don't open that door and kill me.
Sometimes you shut the closet door on a friend and they call you a slut running away.
uh, you deserved it. I can't believe you closed that shit on me, bro.
That was
Uh,
funny.
all right. Well, Only this time he had the most deranged looking grin on his face. He looked as though he was enjoying the torment he was giving the poor little fox as he gained up on him. Suddenly, when Tails tripped another cutscene, the music stopped and Sonic vanished. Tails laid there and started crying for 15 seconds. The scene was rather upsetting to watch, and I kind of teared up myself. But then Sonic appeared right in front of Tails, and Tails looked up in horror. Blood started to come down those blackened eyes of Sonic's as a grin slowly grew from his face as he looked down at the horrified fox. I couldn't do nothing but watch. In a split second, Sonic lunged at Tails right before the screen went to black. There was a loud screeching noise that only lasted 5 seconds. The text returned, only this time it said, "You're too slow. Want to try again?" And then that god-awful laugh came with it. Who counts the seconds to these things? Like, you start to hear a screeching sound. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3. Oh, 5 seconds. Like, bro. If I was in that situation, I wouldn't count the fucking seconds. I'd be like, damn, that's fucking creepy, bro. Like, I don't know how long it was, but, fucking, this creepy screeching noise played for a while, and it was creepy. It was fucking creepy. I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, it lasted 5 seconds, 2 milliseconds, and 3 minute seconds. I don't think minute seconds are real. Oh man. I was so shocked by what had happened to Sonic. What happened? Did Sonic murder Tails? No, he couldn't have. He and Tails are supposed to be best friends, right? Why did Sonic do that to him? I shook off the shock as I was brought back to the character select. The save file that had Tails was different. Tails was no longer in the box itself, but in the TV screen itself, which was flickering with that red static. Tails' expression scared me. His eyes were black and bleeding, his orange fur had gone black, and he had an expression of anguish on his face. Trying to ignore it, I picked Knuckles next. The laugh came again, and the title screen cut to black again, and stayed there for another 10 seconds. This time the level said, "You can't run." I was really freaked out by now. I couldn't really tell if this was a glitch or a hack or some kind of sick twisted joke or anything really. But despite my fear of what happened next, I kept playing. The next level looked much different. It had the ground of Scrap Brain Zone, and the sky background looked like the main menu. It had the dark reddish cloudy sky, but it was the music that creeped me out the most. It sounded like Giga's theme right after you beat Pokey in Earthbound. I also noticed that Knuckles looked afraid, just like Tails did, though not as much. More rather, like he looked a little unnerved. He broke the fourth wall just like Tails and looked as if he wasn't sure about going on, but I made him move anyway. He ran down the straight pathway in this dark level, and as he did, the screen started to flicker red static a couple times, and then that maddening laugh came again. Then, after a few seconds of running, I noticed several bloodstains on the metallic ground. I felt a growing sense of fear again, thinking something horrible was going to happen to Knuckles, and he looked nauseated walking down this blood-stained road, but I kept him going. Suddenly, as Knuckles ran, Sonic appeared right in front of him with those black and red eyes, and then red static appeared again. When the static vanished, showing nothing but black screen with the text saying, "Found you." I was now scared. Sonic found Knuckles already? What was going on? Anyway, red static came again, and then I was back to the level. Knuckles looked like he was panicking, and Sonic was nowhere to be found. And this time, that high-pitched squealing from Silent Hill 1's final boss was playing. Was this some kind of boss battle with Sonic? I hope to God it wasn't, honestly. Suddenly, Sonic appeared right behind Knuckles in what appeared to be a pixelated black smoke. I made Knuckles turn and then punch Sonic, but Sonic vanished in black pixelated smoke before I could even land a hit. That terrible laugh went off again. Then Sonic appeared behind Knuckles again, and then I made him punch again, and Sonic vanished again, laughing. Knuckles was panicking even more, and I even felt like I was going crazy. Sonic was practically playing with us. He was playing a sick, twisted little mind game with me and Knuckles. Another cutscene played as Knuckles fell to his knees and clutched his head, sobbing. I felt his agony. Sonic was actually driving us both crazy. And then in a split second, Sonic lunged at Knuckles, and the screen went black, with another distorted screeching noise that lasted for at least 3 seconds. Another text message appeared. So many souls to play with, so little time. Would you agree? What the hell? Just what is going on, I started to think. Sonic was actually trying to talk to me through the game, but I was too scared to think that. He being talked to by a video game character. Do you think that's how people feel when the voice actor for like Arthur talks to them? Oh my God, Arthur Morgan just talked to me.
That was messed up. Probably, though.
Alright. That would be true. What the hell? Oh, wrong part. Already read that part. I was brought back to the main menu, and this time the second file box had Knuckles in the TV screen. His red fur had darkened to a reddish gray, his dreadlocks were dripping with blood, and his eyes were black and bleeding too. And he had a look of sadness on his face. I began to think that those are the actual characters trapped in those TV screens on the save files, but I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. So I shut off the game and took a break. I took a nap. I wish I hadn't, 'cause then I began to have the most disturbing nightmare. I was in a pitch black darkness, though I was under the light given off by a lamp that hung high above my head. I could hear the cries of Knuckles and Tails nearby. They were saying stuff like, "Help us. Why did you give us to him? And run away before he gets you too." Their cries died out as then I heard Sonic laugh. His laugh sounded a lot like the distorted Kefka laugh. "You're a lot of fun to play with, kid, just like your friend Kyle, though he didn't last long." I was scared and looking around for the source of the voice. "Won't be long until you join him and all my other friends." I saw him walking towards me, flickering in and out of several directions. "You can't run, kid. You're in my world now, just like the others." When he grabbed me and I saw his bleeding black and red eyed, grinning face, I woke up with a fright. After a couple of hours, I decided to continue playing the game. I don't know why, but I had to know. I had to figure out why this was happening. So I turned on the computer and turned on the game and selected Robotnik next. I still thought that it was wacky playing as Robotnik, but anyway, the level title appeared again, and this time it said ... which I found really freaky. This time I was in some kind of hallway. I didn't really look like it was from any of the classic Sonic games, though it had the pixelated style. The floor was shiny and checkered, and the walls were a dark grayish purple, with animated candlelights and a few dark bloodstains here and there, and there was a dark red curtain hanging above on the top part of the screen. Every 12 seconds or so, that red curtain sways very slowly, but whenever you're playing the game, you can barely see it move. The music was oddly pleasant, a piano playing a rather sad yet peaceful song, but I knew better. This was the song that played in Hill Act 1, only it was in reverse. Robotnik didn't look entirely nervous like Tails and Knuckles did, but he did have a suspicious look on his face, as if he was just a bit paranoid. He did a little animation when I just left him standing. He turns his head to the left and then to the right, at least twice, and then shrugs at me, as if he has no idea where he was or what was going on. Even though I was scared out of my mind about what was going to happen, I had Robotnik continue onward. He did his usual running animation, you know, when you've beaten him at the end of a classic Sonic game and you chase him. As we continued going through the hallway, then I stopped at a long flight of stairs leading downward. Now I was nervous, even Robotnik seemed unsure of himself, though I pressed onward. As I led Robotnik down the stairs, I noticed that the walls have gotten darker and more reddish. The red torches are now an eerie blue. Then we landed onto another hallway. This one was longer than the last one, or at least it felt like it. And then we headed down another flight of stairs. Down. This one was much longer. It took at least 1 full minute. And then I heard that horrid Kefka laugh again, and then the music slowly faded until it was quiet. As it did, the walls turned more dark red, and the torches were a black flame now. When Robotnik landed onto the third hallway, I noticed that he looked really creeped out, though he tried to hide it. I couldn't blame him. I was scared too. Suddenly, Sonic popped right in front of Robotnik the same way he did Knuckles, and then red static. The red static lasted for about 15 seconds and then showed me a most unpleasant image. The image showed a hyper-realistic of Sonic standing in the darkness, where you can only see his face, while his head and torso faded into black. When I say hyper-realistic, I mean he looked so real you could actually see the lines in his blue fur, as if you could actually feel the fur if you touched the screen. His face, oh God, he had the most horrifying smile I had ever seen, and that's saying something, considering I saw that image at the start of the game. His eyes were wide and black, and once again crying blood, which also looked hyper-realistic, and there were two small glowing red dots in those black eyes staring right at me, as if staring into my mind. His grin was wide and demonic. It literally stretched to the sides of his face like a Cheshire cat, except Sonic had fangs, very sharp fangs, much like the werehog's teeth, except more vicious looking, somewhat yellowish, and from the look of it, he had stains of blood and small bits of flesh on his lips and fangs as if he ate some animal. I stared at that gruesome image for a good 30 seconds, never taking my eyes off it. I felt as if he was actually looking at me, smiling at me. That face, it just took 10 seconds for it to etch itself into my brain for good. Then the screen flickered with red static again, 3 times. On the third time I heard the Kefka laugh, except this time it sounded distorted, demonic even. It went back to the image again, except this time there was text again. It was messed up, but it pretty much, but, but it was pretty much one of the most horrifying things I looked at since I had this game. I am God. It was when I read that message while looking at Sonic when it hit me. I realized right there and then, this Sonic was a monster, a pure, evil, sadistic, all-powerful, nightmarish demented monster, and all of his victims, including Tails, Knuckles, Robotnik, and possibly Kyle, were just his little toys. And the game is the very gateway into his chaotic, nightmarish world, and the very hell his victims are trapped in. Suddenly, in an actual split second, I screamed as Sonic lunged at the screen, screeching loudly, with his mouth wide open to an unnatural length, revealing nothing but literally a spiraling abyss of pure darkness, before the red static came again, this time much louder and distorted. So loud that it hurt my ears. I yelled and grabbed my ears as the red static screeched for a good 7 seconds. Then it stopped, and showing nothing but a black screen. Ready for round 2, Tom? The Kefka laughed, now sounding more clear, as if Sonic was right behind me. Played again 3 times as I looked at that text in shock and confusion. Then I got booted back to the main menu, and this time the third save file had a TV image of Robotnik in the same tormented state as Tails and Knuckles. Robotnik's skin turned a dull gray, his mustache drooped and had blackened, his glasses broke and blood coming from them as he had a mere dead-like expression on his face. I looked at Tails, Knuckles, and Robotnik, and I cried a bit. I pitied them for the agony they're going through. They were forever trapped within the game, forever tormented by that horrid hedgehog, and always will be. Then the computer shut itself off. I couldn't turn it back on no matter what I did. I sat there for maybe 25 seconds, horrified by what had just happened. Sonic is the very embodiment of evil. He tortures people who play his game in more ways than one. And then when he gets bored, he drags you into the game, literally drags you to hell, where he can play with you, always, as his toy. I can't get the game out of my computer. I think it's stuck in there. At least I managed to turn it back on now. After I sat there for 25 seconds, I heard a voice right behind me, like a whisper. Try to keep this interesting for me, Tom. As I turned around to see where the voice came from, and what I saw made me scream. Sitting on my bed, staring right at me, was a Sonic plushie, smiling with bloodstains under its eyes. Oh my god, it's a stuffed animal! And that is Sonic EXE. Some damn scary shit, bro. Are you terrified? So I sure am.
I mean, not now, but first time I watched it, I was tripped out. I was like really stoned the first time I seen it, though, too.
Oh my goodness. Like, I like that one. Now, some of it's really cliche, like constantly being like if you tell someone like, oh, his laugh sounded like this, you have that in your head. And it's just
Hmm.
like he described it every time he laughed. It was that Kefka laugh again. Every time he laughed, it was a Kefka laugh. It's like, yeah, I know. And then the plushie, bro. Like, what the fuck? A plushie showed up behind me and I shit my pants. And I didn't know what to do. But what are your thoughts on this story? Like, what are parts that you like and you think that are just kind of like, or cringe or whatever else?
So like, I'm just gonna rate it as a whole. I like how he described it because I've never seen the description, like I've never seen the story to it before like that. I've only seen the video of it, and to hear the background story, I was like, it was re it was like I was reliving it, or he described it so well it like replayed in my head, and it, like I said, it's been years since I've seen it last, but I remembered everything he was talking about. Like overall, I think he did good. with his like little story time thing. Because to the viewers out there, the ones who are familiar with it, when they um, when they hear this story and they're following along with it, they're gonna be like, "Oh my god, yeah, I remember this or I remember that about it." Like he did a good job painting a picture. I don't like the repetitive use of words.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, I get it. For me, I'm saying like a lot because obviously, like my name implies, I'm stoned. I'm trying to keep my train of thought.
I'm trying to keep it. I will say it's very hard for me to read sometimes because like my brain moves faster than my mouth, and then also like I catch spelling errors or they didn't type it right, or it's just a completely wrong word, and so then my brain's like, wait a minute, you got to piece this together.
Your brain goes from third gear to neutral in an instant.
Exactly, bro. It's like I fucking on a motorcycle going down, the road peacefully, and then all of a sudden I just whiskey throttle into a wall.
Just out of nowhere, like you're free and safe, and then out of nowhere, just fucking first sign of danger, cream your ass into it.
It's like I'm going down a straight road and then just suddenly a semi comes out of nowhere and fucking runs my ass over. But yeah, no, I like it. It is one of my favorites. Now some of it I think is really cliche or just kind of like, oh, what the fuck. That's the original story. Originally, that is the original story, but it originally back then it got removed because of some of the cliches in it, like the stuffed animal part. Like the owner of the web removed it because a lot of people made fun of him for it and were like, "What the fuck, a plushie?" But thankfully he got it back up because the owner was like, "Yeah, it was wrong for me to just delete it on you because of that, blah blah blah." So yeah, and there are our thoughts on Sonic.exe. And now into our next story, Squidward's suicide. I was an intern at Nickelodeon Studios for a year in 2005. Hey, 2005. That's a good year. Right before the PS5. PS5, I'm retarded. PS3. Yeah, the PS5's been out since 2005. Right before the year of PS3. My degree in animation wasn't paid for, of course. Most internships aren't, but I did have some perks beyond education. To adults, it might not seem like a big one, but most kids at the time would go crazy over it. Now, since I worked directly with the editors and animators, I got to view the new episodes days before they aired. I'll get right to it without giving too many unnecessary details. They had very recently made the SpongeBob movie, and the entire staff was somewhat snapped out of creativity. It took them longer to start up the session, but the delay lasted longer for more upsetting reasons. There was a problem with the Series 4 premiere that set everyone and everything back for several months. Me and two other interns were in the editing room, along with the lead animators and sound editors for the final cut. We received the copy that was supposed to be Fear of a Krabby Patty and gathered around the screen to watch. Now, given that it isn't final yet, animators often put up a mock title card, sort of an inside joke for us, with phony, oftentimes lewd titles such as How Sex Doesn't Work instead of uh, Rockabye, by Vave. I don't know what that word is. I'm stupid. When SpongeBob and Patrick adopt a sea scallop. Nothing particularly funny, but work-related chuckles. So when we saw the title card, Squidward's Suicide, we didn't think it more than a morbid joke. One of the interns did a small throat laugh at it. The happy-go-lucky music plays as normal. The story began with Squidward practicing his clarinet, hitting a few sour notes like normal. We hear SpongeBob laughing outside and Squidward stops, yelling at him to keep it down as he has a concert that night and needs to practice. SpongeBob says okay and then goes to see Sandy with Patrick. The bubble splash screen comes up and we see the ending of Squidward's concert. This is when things began to seem off. While playing, a few frames repeat themselves, but with but but the sound doesn't. At this point, the sound is synced up with animation, so yes, that's not common. But when he stops playing, the sound finishes as if the skip never happened. There is a silent murmuring in the crowd before they begin to boo him. Not normal cartoon booing that is common in the show, but you could very clearly hear the malice in it. Squidward's in full frame and looks visibly afraid. The shot goes to the crowd, with SpongeBob in center frame, and he too is booing, very much unlike him. That wasn't the oddest thing, though. What is odd is everyone had hyper-realistic eyes, very detailed, clearly not shots of real people's eyes, but something more real than CGI. The pupils were red. Some of us looked at each other, obviously confused, but since we weren't the writers, we didn't question its appeal to children yet. The shot goes to Squidward sitting on the edge of his bed, looking very forlorn. The view out of his porthole window is of a night sky, so it isn't very long after the concert. The unsettling part is at this point there is no sound, literally no sound, not even the feedback from the speakers in the room. It is as if the speakers were turned off through their status showed them working perfectly, though their status showed them working perfectly. He sat there blinking in silence for about 30 seconds. Then he started to sob softly. He put his hands, tentacles, over his eyes and cried quietly for a full minute more, all while a sound in the background very slowly growing from nothing to barely audible. It sounded like a slight breeze through a forest. The screen slowly begins to zoom in on his face. By slow, I mean it's only noticeable if you look at the shots 10 seconds apart, side by side. His sobbing gets louder, more full of hurt and anger. The screen then twitches a bit, as if it twists on itself for a split second, and then goes back to normal. The wind through the trees sound gets slowly louder and more severe, as if a storm is brewing somewhere. The eerie part is the sound, and Squidward's sobbing sounded real, as if the sound wasn't coming from the speakers, but as if the speakers were holes the sound was coming through. From from the other side, as good as sound oh, it's coming through the other side. As good as sound as as good as sound as the studio likes. That threw me off really bad. To have, they don't purchase the equipment to be that good to produce sound of that quality. Below the sound of the wind and sobbing, very faint, something sounded like laughing. It came at odd intervals and never lasted more than a second, so you had a hard time pinning it. We watched this show twice, so pardon me if things sound too specific, but I've had time to think about them. After 30 seconds of this, the screen blurred and twitched violently, and then something flashed over the screen, as if a single frame was replaced. The lead animation editor paused and rewound frame by frame. What we saw was horrible. It was a still photo of a dead child. He couldn't have been more than 6. The face was mangled and bloodied, one eye dangling over his upturned face, popped. He was naked down to his underwear. His stomach was crudely cut open and his entrails lying beside him. He was laying on some pavement that was probably a road. The most upsetting part was there was a shadow of the photographer. There was no crime tape, no evidence tags or markers, and the angle was completely off for a shot designed to be evidence. It would seem the photographer was the person responsible for the child's death. We were of course mortified, but pressed on. Damn, bro. How would you feel if you were there and you saw that shit?
Dude, like, I would be tripped the fuck out. Not even gonna lie. Like, that, like, no, just pass.
Right. Hoping that it was just a sick joke. The screen flipped back to Squidward, still sobbing, louder than before, and half body and frame. There was now what appeared to be blood running down his face from his eyes. The blood was also done in a hyper-realistic style, looking as if you touched it, you'd get blood on your fingers. The wind sounded now as if it were that of a gale blowing through the forest. There were even snapping sounds of branches, the laughing in a deep baritone lasting at longer intervals and coming more frequently after about 20 seconds. After about 20 seconds, the screen again twisted and showed a single frame photo. The editor was reluctant to go back. We all were, but he knew he had to. This time the photo was that of what appeared to be a little girl no older than the first child. She was laying on her stomach, her barrettes in a pool of blood next to her. Her left eye was too popped out and popped, naked except for her underpants. Her entrails were piled on top of her, above another crude cut along her back. Again, the body was on the street, and the photographer's shadow was visible, very similar in size and shape to the first. I had to choke back vomit, and one intern, the only female in the room, ran out, and the show resumed. After about 5 seconds after this second photo played, Squidward went silent, as did all sound, like it was when this scene started. He put his tentacles down, and his eyes were now done in hyperrealism, like the others were in the beginning of the episode. They were bleeding, bloodshot, and pulsating. He just stared at the screen as if watching the viewer. After about 10 seconds, he started sobbing, this time not covering his eyes. The sound was piercing and loud, and most fear-inducing of all, as his sobbing was mixed with screams. Tears and blood were dripping down his face at a heavy rate. The wind sound came back, and so did the deep-voiced laughing, and this time the still photo lasted for 5 good frames. The animator was able to stop it on the 4th and backed up. This time the photo was of a boy about the same age, but this time the scene was different. The entrails were just being pulled out of a stomach wound by a large hand. The right eye popped and dangling, blood trickling down it. The animator proceeded. It was hard to believe, but the next one was different, but we couldn't tell what. He went on to the next, same thing. He went back to the first and played them quicker, and I lost it. I vomited on the floor. The animating and sound editors gasping at the screen. The 5 frames were not as if they were 5 different photos. They were played out as if they were frames from a video. We saw the hand slowly lift out the guts. We saw the kid's eyes focus on it. We even saw 2 frames of the kid beginning to blink. The lead sound editor told us to stop. He had to call in the creator to see this. Mr. Hillenberg arrived within about 15 minutes. He was confused as to why he was called down there, so the editor just continued the episode. Once the few frames were shown, all screaming and all sound again stopped. Squidward was just staring at the viewer, full frame of the face for about 3 seconds. The shot quickly panned out, and that deep voice said, "Do it." And we see in Squidward's hands a shotgun. He immediately puts the gun in his mouth and pulls the trigger. Realistic blood and brain matter splatters the wall behind him and his bed. He flies back with the force, and the last 5 seconds of this episode show his body on the bed, on his side, one eye dangling on what's left of his head above the floor, staring blankly at it. Then the episode ends. Mr. Hillenberg is obviously angry at this, and he demands to know what the heck is going on. Most people left the room at this point. It was just a handful of us to watch it again. Viewing the episode twice only served to imprint the entirety of it in my mind and causing me horrible nightmares. I'm sorry I stayed. The only theory we could think of was the file was edited by someone in the chain form to the drawing studio to here. The CTO was called in to analyze when it happened. The analysis of the file did show that it was edited over by new material. However, the timestamp of it was a mere 24 seconds before we began viewing it. All equipment involved was examined for foreign software and hardware as well as glitches, as if the timestamp may have glitched and shown the wrong time, but we did everything. But everything checked out fine. We don't know what happened, and to this day nobody does. There was an investigation due to the nature of the photos, but nothing came of it. No child was identified and no clues were gathered from the data involved, nor physical clues in the photos. I never believed in unexplainable phenomenon before, but now that I have something happen and I can't prove anything about it beyond anecdotal evidence, I think twice about things. And that is the end of Squidward's suicide. What are your thoughts on Squidward's suicide?
Honestly, the first time I seen it, well, since the first time I seen it, I should say, it changed my mindset entirely on SpongeBob. It was one of those, I seen it, and now every time I watch SpongeBob, like every time, it'll replay in my head, um, at some certain point, because obviously I got a kid
Mm-hmm.
that watches SpongeBob a lot, and, I'll be sitting there, Squidward's on the screen, and he's at work at the Krusty Krab, and I'm like, you shot yourself. I don't know what. That video ruined it for me. But it's like both that one and again, I'm gonna mind blank on it. I'm trying to remember the last one we talked about. The Sonic, both Sonic and Squidward. Those two were so dark. Same with Suicide Mouse from last week.
Mm-hmm.
Those three as a group were so dark and twisted at the point in time when I watched them, where I'm just like, I was like, this is fucked up. I don't want to be watching this, but I did not stop watching it. I'm like, I have to see how it goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they're so twisted that they keep you glued in until the end, pretty much, once you watch them.
Right.
What's uh, what's your reflection on it?
Now that is one I've always liked because it's something simple. It's nothing like paranormal or something that like just like that doesn't make sense that like can't happen. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I like the closeness to realism aspect of it, and just the writing is really good, the storytelling, the description of certain things, like the way things are described, are also really good. So I think it's pretty good.
I
And
do
that
too.
is Squidward Suicide. And that is where we will end episode 2. Or not episode 2, fucking part 2 of our Creepypasta series. So, I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you're excited for more Creepypasta stories upcoming. Because there will be more in the future. Now, obviously, along with our normal stuff and other things. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like it. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe, because we just be chilling. We drop episodes every Monday. So you got something to look forward to on a Monday. And I think that's it. Hope y'all enjoyed. Like, subscribe, give me and your co-host Stoner Ty some love, and let us know your favorite creepypastas, or what you think on the stories, and what are your thoughts about it. And if there's some that you want to hear us touch on in the future, let us know, and we will. But until then, this has been Two Fucked Up Guys in a Call, episode 7. And we'll catch y'all in the streets, you little freaks. This fucking guy, I swear to God. Just gotta come out here and look for him. He's just never where he's supposed to be. Tell him to show up to the office. And now I gotta come out here and find him. Gotta track his phone, and for some reason, he's out here. Like, what is he even gonna do out here? This dude doesn't even have a brain strong enough to even work out here. People are walking away. That's probably him. Yeah, that's definitely him. Where is this dude? People walking away. Yeah, that's definitely him. I swear to God. I swear to God. What the fuck are you doing out here? What happened to him?
Well, funny story. So, I was at home, right, smoking. You're always wondering why isn't this guy at work? Can't ever find him at the office. Well, I'm always at home smoking weed. So I'm sitting there on the couch. I shut the TV off because I'm like, man, same shit every 10, 15 minutes. I'm like, it's getting old. So I shut it off. I go on my phone. I'm looking at iFind for suggestions of things to do in our area. Like, man, I lived in this city for years. I've done some fun things, but I need something new. And it dawned on me. I was like, I've never been to the observatory before, So I come up here. I'm like, dude, the view is epic. Well, on my way up here, Jackwig in here taking a nap. He kind of walking in the middle of the way here, and I'm like jogging my way through. Yeah, maybe that was a little rude, but you didn't need to shove me. Anyway, I I bounced off him as I'm jogging over here because I want to see the lake over there and see this view because I saw that view over there, so I had to get the full panorama, you know.
Uh-huh.
Well, this little some bitch, he pushed me and he was like, "Don't ever touch me," blah blah blah. I'm like, "All right, I'll give you the 1-2." Gave him a knuckle duster in the face, and well, here we are. What's up?
Now I have to do paperwork. Fucking. You know what? We don't even have time for me to argue with you. Just come on. We got work shit to do. We got a new hire. He's coming in for an interview. And
Uh,
you have some paperwork to do. So I'll take care of the interview. I know that you don't like doing interviews with people.
well,
Yeah,
I do gotta ask, is it the guy that you told me about?
it's that new guy.
Yeah, see, I don't know if him and I are gonna get along famously, to be honest. I mean, you know me. He either he's gonna annoy me, or I mean, he might not even know who I am. Truthfully, I mean, yeah, I always got weed at home, and I never want to work. So yeah,
Well, you just have to deal with it.
he says one smug comment when I walk into the office. Throw his ass out the door myself and tell you I fired him and I'll find a replacement.
I'm sure you will.
He's gonna know who Stone and Ty is.
Well, listen, you can't just beat up our employers, our employees, and everything else like that. We don't, we don't, we, you know how much paperwork I have to do? Do you know,
Dude, you see
after you
how
beat up the
little I
janitor?
come. No, no. Well, you know what? Fuck that guy for one. And two, you see how little I come into the office? If I kick his ass, I'm either having a really bad day or I didn't get stoned and picked up by you because I was running late. So I guess I was just having a bad day. Yeah, fuck him too. And the janitor. Fuck both of them.
No, you're a
Two
handful.
fucked up guys in a call, not two fucked up guys babysitting jackasses.
No, just get in the helicopter. I,
I don't need this shit today, dude. Oh my god, thank god I brought my fucking dab pen with me, man. Dude, you're hard to deal with.
I don't want to hear it from you. You're not at the house. You're not at the office. Gotta come over here and I gotta find you. And out of all the places in the city, you're over here at a fucking observatory. Like, I ain't got time for this bullshit.
You know how you like time off? Well, guess what? I like time off too. And you know what you just did? Disrupted my time off. Next time I'm staying home. Buzz all day, I don't need to answer.
You know? Whatever. Let's just sleep. That was a pretty decent interview. I think you'll do good. Gotta get him into work as soon as possible. Maybe I'll get him in tomorrow. Oh, I assume this means you got that work I asked you to do done?
uh, yeah, yeah. So, just want to ask you, how do you think the interview went overall?
I think I think he's gonna be good. Knows how to use a computer, and I mean that's about all you need. You just gotta sit at that desk and take calls and do shit like that. Make sure shit gets done when I call in for stuff. You know, the usual.
I mean, You think he'll show up to work more than me?
Absolutely. And I think having some help will help Tiffany fucking cool down a bit. Get off our asses.
I hate to say it, but he's fired already if he's got a better track record than me.
Just because he actually shows up to work on time doesn't mean you can just fire our employees.
I mean, why?
You know what? I don't have time to deal with this. I know for damn sure you didn't finish that work, so I got paperwork to do.
Uh-uh. You just don't want to admit that I'm more better than you.
You know what? Fucking go do some work in your office. I gotta file that incident report after you beat up that guy.
Oh. Alright, I'll get back to work. I'll have it done by Wednesday.
This fucking guy.